We are now in our new textbook, Chapter 6. This is Lesson 1, Powers and Exponents. Throughout this entire chapter, we're going to have a lot more vocabulary than we have in the past. So starting off on page 433, we're going to look at a few vocabulary words. As we all know, these tens here are called our factors. Whenever you multiply two numbers together, they're factors. In this case, the new word, the base, is the number used as a factor. This right here is called the base. So our 10, once it's a factor, then becomes the base. Lastly, this 2 up here is going to be called our exponent, which tells us how many times we need to multiply the factors. So this right here would be our exponent. It'll make more sense when we go through some examples. You can follow along with me on page 434. We are going to do letters A and B. They want us to write each of these products using an exponent. Well, remember, these are our bases. So if my base is 7, that's actually going to be my base. Exponents go by how many numbers there are. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 sevens. So my exponent is a 4, and I'm done with letter A. For B, again, I have 9s as my factors, so 9 then becomes my base. My exponent is how many 9s I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So my exponent would be 7. Your code word for this lesson, they're all going to be related to Wisconsin sports. So your code word for this lesson is Wisconsin basketball. You can follow along with me on page 435. We are going to do C, D, and E at the bottom of the page. We want to write each power as a product of the same factor, then find the value. Well, let's start with the letter C. Instead of having 10 to the 5th, we want to rewrite that. Well, 10 being our base becomes our factor, and I need to take it times 5 times. So I need to write all that out. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 10s, because that's how many it told me to have. So now I multiply these. 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 is 100,000 for my answer. So now if I do letter D, 2.1 is my base, so that is actually my factor. And I'm going to multiply it twice because it's an exponent of 2. So I'm going to take 2.1 times 2.1. Well, we know how to solve this. We've multiplied decimals before. So 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Have the 0. Go to the second one. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Add them all up. I get 1 plus 0 is 1, 2 plus 2 is 4, and 4 plus 0 is 4. My last step is to count how many numbers behind the decimal, and there's 2, so I go 2 over. So my answer is 4.41 for letter D. So after you write out my factors, I also need to solve them then and multiply. Here's letter E. I have 1/4 to the second power. This is another way of saying 1/4 squared. So that tells me that I want to take 1/4 times 1/4. 2 means I write the number twice. Parentheses are another way of saying multiplication. You also could just drop them and go like this that we've already seen. Now we know how to multiply fractions as well. We've gone through all of this. Remember, you multiply straight across. So 1 times 1 is 1, and 4 times 4 is 16. And that would be my answer.